Yo, how's it going, everybody? And welcome to a tutorial? I don't know what to call it. I'm going to be showing you guys the settings I use for my GoXLR that I've been loving so much ever since I got it. So the first setting when you open up your GoXLR app is your mic setup. Now this is really going to screw up my mic when I click it. So I'm just going to kind of click it and show you what settings I'm using, and try not to talk during it because it'll sound really weird. But I'm using a dynamic microphone. I have the ShureSM7B. So of course I'm going to have my dynamic microphone selected, and I'll show you how much gain I have going on with it. So as you can see, I have 58 decibels of gain, and I have my dynamic microphone selected. If you do not have a dynamic microphone, you are going to want to use the condenser mic setting. And once you have gotten that set up, we have all of these amazing features that expand all out here to mess with, to make our voice sound better, to make our to make sure we don't have any like background noise. We even have a De-Esser, a compressor. It's just awesome. The one thing I will say, the compressor is a little bit overwhelming with this software. I find that compared to the Streamlabs compressor I was using, it is quite, I don't know, it does its job. It's making sure that nothing hits past that threshold, but I also notice things like when you're playing music, you can broadcast that music through your GoXLR and play it to your chat. That's one of the awesome features about having the GoXLR. But something I noticed was the compressor actually, I should have realized it would do it, but the compressor actually compresses the audio from the music as well. So that's just something to keep in mind, but we'll get to that in a second. So the first thing is our gate. This gate is going to be completely up to your room and how your room setup is structured, or your setup in general is structured, because I have a generally quiet room. The most I have is usually a fan under my desk blowing. So I have a threshold of negative 50 decibels. If I were to lower, you can see, I was saying if you were to lower this, it requires you to speak louder or have a higher initial volume that you must reach before your microphone starts recording. If I were to lower it, you can probably hear that fan buzzing under my desk. So I have it at negative 50. I could go a little bit further. I could do around here probably. But if I were to go like this, you may notice that sometimes my sentences get cut off at the beginning. Sometimes, not always. That was something I was dealing with. Attenuation. Not really sure what it does. Oh, I can see. So it's basically like muting, how much you're muting of that audio you're cutting out. So I have mine at 100% because I want it to be completely dead quiet. But I guess this could be something you can mess with if you want it to be 50%. So it sounds more of like a realistic vibe. It's going to be quiet when I'm not talking, so I'm going to not talk. But right now, when I'm looking at my streaming software, it is showing that it is picking up some of my fan noise. But it may be quieter because I have my attenuation at like 50%. However, I like having it at 100%, so it's dead quiet. As you can see there's nothing. So I keep my attack at 10 milliseconds. I like being able to have it very punchy if I turn it up. Sometimes, once again, I heard it there. My initial sentence, my initial word of my sentence gets kind of cut off. So having it at 10 milliseconds is really nice. And then your release time at 200 milliseconds. You can change your release time to up to 2000 milliseconds. But as you can see there, after I stop talking, you can hear my fan slowly fading out. If you have it too low, sometimes it'll cut off the end of your sentence. If I were to be talking and kind of back away, you can hear that my voice is getting very choppy. So I'm going to leave it at my 200 milliseconds. That's what I prefer. Now here is a juicy part I love, something that I never really had on Streamlabs, well, at least built in, was an equalizer. So having an equalizer is so awesome. I used to have to use VST plugins and it was kind of a pain, but this is the exact setup I was using before. I had a VST plugin where I could change specific hertz rates and all that stuff, and I had these exact settings where I was raising by like 6 decibels or 5 decibels, and my mic did not sound nearly as good as it does now. I'm going to turn off Enable Fine Tune right now, and I'm going to show you. It sounds a lot weirder right now, definitely, because the hertz that they have selected for the general are very weird to pick. I'm not sure why their low ends are so. There's one that's very low. This is 30 is like if you were to slam your desk, that's something you're going to hear at 30 hertz maybe, or bass. The lowest you really want to go is 60 hertz. Anything past 60 hertz is going to be just pure bass, like you slamming your desk or your microphone getting hit. And as you can tell, I'm tapping my mic there. And it sounds like just I'm tapping my mic. It's not completely destroying a subwoofer like my old mic used to. So that's something that we will get to with the compressor. But these are just my settings I prefer. So if you want to go through and copy these, I can turn down the bass. I can turn it down to like 2. So if I were to do 2 all across the board, it sounds like, to me, it sounds a little weird. This technically, yes, would be a little closer to what my voice sounds like. But in reality, I tend to have a deeper cut voice, so I like the podcast sound. It sounds like you're talking on a podcast. You're getting up very close, and I don't know, it sounds good to the ears. I like having high bass. You can also turn some of these down, and this will get rid of some higher pitched noises that you may have. Very commonly, if you have like what is it called? Like static sounds. And I was thinking, like, if your cables are close to different cables, you might get the staticky cable resonance sounds. That's what I'm trying to say. And this can sometimes help if you lower this. Sometimes it'll affect your voice, but this one you can see it's not really changing much. But this one I messed with before, and it did actually help a lot with some of the static sounds I was getting. But I have since moved my cables a lot, and isolating your cables is very important because it will help remove some of the static sounds. If I bring this cable just 2 inches further, you can hear when I talk, at the end of when I talk, there's a little static sound That is because my cable is too close to an RGB light. Yes, an RGB light. So you got to be very careful when placing your cables and kind of make sure they're not touching other cables. Lastly, we have our De-Esser next, but we have our compressor. So this has been something that I'm still not very comfortable with, and I still mess with this all the time. So you can take these settings, but you definitely want to customize them for your situation. No matter how hard I try, I feel like there's something I can do better. But normally what you want to do is take your threshold and you want to pull it down until you hear yourself start getting quieter. So I'm getting quieter. So right around when you first start hearing yourself get quieter, you want to set it around there. So in my case, it's 16 decibels. I just leave my ratio at 4:1, and my attack at 2 milliseconds, my release at 100 milliseconds, and then the makeup gain is really important because this is when you have a threshold, you, like I said, and like I showed, you pull down this and your voice is getting quieter. So you want to make up that gain with this makeup gain. But this is something I've gone back and forth between my threshold and my makeup gain so many times to try and figure out what's best. And this so far has been pretty suitable for most of my situations, and I enjoy these settings. So if I were to turn this up, you'd hear I get a lot louder. If I turn it down, I'm going to get a lot quieter. So I found the -16 and 12 is pretty good. I'm always in the high to low, or so the high yellow zone or the low red zone in my recording, which I prefer because most people will say you're supposed to be like in the yellow, but when I'm in the yellow, I tend to be quieter than my game I'm playing. So I have been using this and I'm pretty comfortable with those settings, and I feel like that is the best for me. You may not feel the same way, you may change it, and it's all up to you and whatever you think. Now the De-Esser is pretty awesome. So if I say a lot of S's, you can definitely hear without the De-Esser how that can change your quality. If I turn it up all the way and say the same thing, you hear the difference between that. Yeah, it really changes. So I could leave this at 100%. I don't know why I really have it at 80. I guess it kind of leaves a little room for the S sound to still get through, but 80 is a good number for me, and that's what I prefer. Now, onto the mixer. This is all, I'm not really going to cover this. This is very situational, up to you. So I like to be able to, you'll see right here what I'm doing, but this is my game volume, and you'll notice I can mute my mic, and you see how the slider goes all the way down. However, when I mute my sound for my music, it just turns pink. But if I hold it, there, it went all the way down. So I like to stream with music in the background, but of course you can't always do that without getting copyright claims. So sometimes I have to click the mute to stream, because when I am streaming, I don't want to get copyright striked, but I want to listen to the music. So I just want to mute it for the stream, not for me. This way you can enjoy your music. Same goes for my voice chat. So if I'm talking to people in Discord, I can turn up and down their volume. And if I don't want the people in my Discord to be heard on my stream, I can just click the mute button and they won't be heard on the stream, or same thing, I can hold it down and it'll be muted entirely for myself and the stream. Lastly, once again, I have it set to the mute to stream for my game, and this is solely because I like to change the volume of my game during my streams. So I will commonly change the volume if it's too loud. However, I often record as well as stream. So when I am recording, I will mute to the stream or the recording. That way I can change the volume for myself if it's too loud. But in my streaming software, it'll be the normal game volume, and I have a different audio track for that, so I can change the game volume in post-processing and editing to increase or decrease the volume to whatever sounds better. Sometimes I find when I'm playing the game that the sound is too loud, so I'll turn it down. But after, when I'm recording or when I'm editing the recording, I find that it was actually way too quiet. So it's something that's very handy. And then this is just so mic monitor. So level, I think, yeah, this is how much you can hear yourself. So right now I can't hear myself at all. I'm just blankly talking to the microphone. But if I turn this up, I can finally hearing myself. Some people don't enjoy that. Some people don't like hearing themselves when they talk. I personally, I like to monitor I like to monitor my talking and make sure I'm loud enough, make sure I can hear myself. If sometimes like I'll hear rumbling from cars. We oftentimes have cars that'll like rev their engines and they'll hum and make a humming noise, and I wouldn't even notice that if my levels were all the way down for my headphones. So having that up is nice. As well, my mic monitor, this I think that's pretty much the same setting. So I'm not sure exactly what the difference is between these. It seems to be about the same. I know your level, maybe it might be different. Maybe your level is how much your volume is for everything, including your music and all that. And your mic monitor is what I was explaining before. My lighting, I've customized all my lighting to be, it's weird you can't see it on here, but I have a blue to purplish pink for my sliders. And everything else is correct though. So if something is enabled, it is this cyan blue. If it's disabled, it's this pink. So if I were to record this is a sample. You can see the sample was loaded and it turned blue here and I can play it. This is a sample. And then I can clear it. So I like this because it's very easy to understand. I can go through here and change all of these settings and know specifically which one's selected. And it's just my personal preference for colors. So if we want to, we can get into effects. So I have very random effects selected. One day I just messed with them and decided to set them up as some settings. So my first one is hard tune with too much echo actually. So I might change that, but yeah, I have a hard tune for whatever reason. And then I have a semi-deeper voice, a really deeper voice.
And then I have the fucking kid voice that's super annoying. And then even a higher pitched kid voice if I want to be like, beasted. And
then this one's just the megaphone.
So, these are so fun to play with. I absolutely love them. And a lot of people don't actually know that you can go in and there's different styles. So if I go to my hard tune, for example, so I turn on my hard tune, but if I change it to medium, it's not gonna affect it as much. And then natural is almost gonna be like, it's auto-tuned still, but you can hear that my pitch is out of tune. If I go back to hard and do auto-tune, it'll change it a lot. So I don't know, you can mess with these if you like different robot sounds. This is robot 1. This is robot 2. This is robot 3. Robot 3 sounds like he's really raspy. So yeah, and then same goes for mostly everything else. I mean, your gender. So I'm gonna change this. So this is just my gender. So you can do a very medium change is what I have, or a very wide change. So there's a big difference clearly between a medium change and a wide. So this is a medium at the lowest. So it sounds low, but if I go to wide, it's yeah. So I keep it at medium. It's a little bit more realistic of a change. Megaphone. Oh boy. So on the phone, you can do on the phone. Yeah, what's good? That is pure air rapiness. I don't like that. Megaphone, radio, overdrive. There's so much. Everything is customizable, and that's why I love this thing so much. So I showed those. What about? Sorry. What about my pitch? I haven't. Yeah, there's just the narrow or wide. I have mine at wide. I'm not going to do the pitch right now. Pitch is very annoying. If everything else I have done so far hasn't been annoying enough. These echo ones are actually pretty cool. So if I were to enable my echo, so I have it at multi-tap, but there's classic slap, which is a very like right behind me echo. Or I can go for the ping pong. Left to right, left to right, left to right. Triplet. Eighth. Or quarter. So you can tell by the triplet, eighth, quarter, how many times you're going to get that echo back. I like this multi-tap. And then last we can go over the reverb. This is really cool. You can go from full on singing the Halo theme song to just, I don't know, whatever you want. So I have real place selected. It's just like a wide room reverb, yeah. But we can do a chapel or a hockey arena. You can see how much longer that lasts after I talk. Or we can do something like a music club. What is a music club like? Oh yeah. So it's just that like instant reverb. It sounds kind of synthesize-y. That's weird. Dark bloom. So like if you're in a small cave. And then the library. Oh, that's really quiet, actually. So the hockey arena is like your... Oh, they scored. Biggest reverb. So it's clearly so much stuff to mess with. And then your routing as well. This is also very awesome. So as you can see, my broadcast mix, it's got everything. So all my samples, my reverb, sound effects, but my chat mic for Discord, it's just my mic, my samples. That way, I don't even know why I have samples, but I don't want to be streaming and using effects and annoying people. So, or I don't want to be streaming using effects in my stream, but annoying the people in my Discord. So I have some of those things turned off. Actually, my sampler might be turned on. I don't know. But this is how you would change what you want to hear in your output. And then, of course, your system is just, if you want to check for updates, things like that. So that's my run through of my GoXLR settings. It's just a blast to go through. I know some of this stuff can be really confusing, like your mic. But after that, it's all just fun and messing around and getting to mess with a bunch of things. One thing I don't make much use of is the drum pad thing, the sampler, but this can actually be really useful if you are streaming. You can have different sounds. You can just click the drum pad to play. And you can load samples in. So say you want like the air horn, each time someone follows or subs, you would just be able to click that sample and play the air horn. But I'm going to leave it at that, and you guys can take it to your curiosity level and dive deeper into the settings and find more things. And I hope I helped in some way. If you like this video, feel free to leave it a like. If you like my content, feel free to subscribe. And as always, I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.